Some machines were built to work the land. Others were built to dominate it with such raw, unfiltered power that they blurred the line between farm equipment and pure mechanical madness. Today, we're counting down 13 tractors that should be illegal, monsters of torque, speed, and engineering excess that made farmers feel like drag racers and turned quiet fields into thunder zones. From Soviet beasts to American hot rods on tracks, these are the tractors that rewrote every rule. Number 13, the Big Bud 747. Standing in front of the Big Bud 747 is like staring up at a mechanical cathedral. This isn't just a tractor, it's a statement. Built in 1977 by the Northern Manufacturing Company in Montana, the Big Bud was designed for one purpose: to prove that bigger truly could be better. Weighing in at nearly 100,000 pounds and stretching over 27 feet long, this articulated four-wheel drive giant packed a Detroit diesel V8 engine, producing 760 horsepower. That's more power than most semi-trucks. The transmission offered 6 forward gears, and when this beast moved across a field, it could pull a massive cultivator that covered nearly 60 feet in a single pass. Farmers didn't just hear it coming. They felt the ground shake. The fuel tank held over 1,000 gallons, enough to run for days without stopping. The 8 tires stood taller than a grown man, each one weighing over 800 pounds and costing more than a decent used car. Inside the cab, the controls felt more like operating industrial machinery than driving a tractor, because that's exactly what it was. The steering wheel required genuine muscle to turn, and the noise level at full throttle made conversation impossible. This machine was built for the Rossi Brothers farm in Montana, where they needed something capable of working their massive wheat operation with brutal efficiency. It worked fields that stretched to the horizon, pulling implements that would have required 3 or 4 conventional tractors working in tandem. Only one was ever built, making it the largest farm tractor ever constructed. Today, it sits in a museum, retired but never forgotten, a monument to the idea that sometimes excess isn't just acceptable, it's glorious. This tractor didn't just break the mold, it crushed it under 8 massive tires and left it buried in Montana soil. Number 12, the Steiger Panther 1000. In the early 1980s, Steiger Tractor Company decided that power limits were merely suggestions. The Panther 1000 emerged as their answer to farmers who needed more torque, more weight, more presence. With a Cummins turbocharged diesel engine delivering 525 horsepower, this articulated giant weighed over 52,000 pounds and rode on tires taller than a grown man. The Panther could pull implements that smaller tractors couldn't even budge. Its 8-wheel design distributed weight so efficiently that it could work wet fields without sinking, turning mud into opportunity. The cab sat high above the ground, giving operators a commanding view that felt more like piloting a ship than driving a tractor. Hydraulic systems pumped thousands of pounds of pressure through lines thick as garden hoses. The sound it made at full throttle was part diesel roar, part mechanical symphony. What made the Panther truly special was its build quality. Every component was over-engineered to withstand punishment that would destroy lesser machines. The frame rails were constructed from steel thick enough to support a building. Axles came from heavy industrial applications, modified and reinforced for agricultural torture. Even the paint was special, a lime green so bright it could be seen from miles away, making lost tractors in vast fields virtually impossible. Farmers who owned one didn't just respect it, they feared its raw capability. Operating costs were astronomical. Fuel consumption could exceed 20 gallons per hour under heavy load. Tires wore out faster than expected because the power output simply overwhelmed rubber compounds. But for large-scale wheat and corn operations, the Panther 1000 was worth every penny and every headache. This wasn't a tool. It was a force of nature painted green and wearing Steiger's name like a badge of honor. When production ended, farmers who owned them refused to sell, creating a used market where pristine examples commanded prices that rivaled new equipment. Number 11, the Case IH Steiger Quadtrac 620. When Case IH engineers decided to put tracks on all 4 corners of their largest tractor, they created something that shouldn't exist outside of military applications. The Quadtrac 620 delivers exactly what its name promises: 620 horsepower, channeled through 4 massive rubber tracks that give it contact with nearly 7,000 square feet of ground. This tractor doesn't just resist getting stuck, it laughs at the concept. The Cat C15 engine produces over 2,000 pound-feet of torque, enough to pull the heaviest discs and plows through soil that would stop conventional tractors cold. Its continuously variable transmission allows infinite speed adjustments between 0 and 25 miles per hour, making it feel more like driving a spaceship than farm equipment. The cab is pressurized, climate-controlled, and loaded with touchscreens that display everything from fuel consumption to soil compaction data. At over 60,000 pounds, it's heavy enough to be considered a small tank. The tracks themselves cost more than entire compact tractors, but they deliver traction that borders on supernatural. Each track assembly contains dozens of moving parts: rollers, idlers, tensioners, all working in harmony to distribute weight and maintain contact. The rubber compounds used in track construction represent years of material science research, balancing durability with flexibility. Watching one work is mesmerizing. It just keeps pulling, keeps moving, keeps dominating whatever landscape it encounters with mechanical certainty. Farmers report being able to work fields in conditions that would bench conventional tractors for days. Spring planting happens on schedule regardless of moisture. Fall tillage continues through weather that creates mud impassable to wheeled equipment. The Quadtrac transformed farming schedules from weather-dependent gambling into predictable operations. That reliability came at a cost, though. Purchase prices exceeded $500,000. Maintenance required specialized knowledge and tools. Track replacement could cost over $100,000. But for operators managing thousands of acres, the Quadtrac 620 represented not just an investment, but a competitive advantage that changed what was possible. Number 10. The John Deere 9.620 RX. John Deere looked at traditional tractors and decided they needed reinvention. The 9.620 RX emerged from that vision with a radical design: tracks in the rear, wheels up front. This hybrid configuration delivers 620 horsepower through a 6-cylinder diesel engine that sips fuel with surprising efficiency despite its massive output. The rear tracks provide incredible traction and flotation, while the front wheels maintain maneuverability, creating a machine that combines the best of both worlds. The continuously variable transmission responds to throttle inputs with the smoothness of a luxury car, while the Command View cab offers visibility that makes 12-hour days almost comfortable. What makes this tractor truly dangerous is its intelligence. Onboard computers monitor slip, adjust power distribution, and optimize fuel consumption automatically. GPS guidance keeps it running in perfectly straight lines within 1 inch of accuracy. The 3-point hitch can lift over 23,000 pounds, and hydraulic flow reaches nearly 60 gallons per minute. The rear track system stretches over 10 feet long, providing contact area that reduces soil compaction to levels previously impossible with equipment this heavy. Front axle suspension allows the wheels to articulate independently, maintaining ground contact across terrains that would lift conventional front ends into the air. This isn't just a tractor, it's a rolling data center wrapped in steel that happens to pull implements. The Generation 4 Command Center display provides touchscreen control of every function, from transmission settings to implement depth control. AutoTrack guidance integrates with section control, automatically lifting and lowering implement sections to prevent overlap and reduce input waste. Farmers who run one talk about it the way pilots talk about their aircraft, with respect bordering on awe. The learning curve is substantial. New operators spend days mastering the interface, understanding how different systems interact, learning to trust automation that feels almost alive. But once that threshold is crossed, productivity increases by margins that seem impossible. Fields get worked faster, with less fuel, and with precision that maximizes yield potential while minimizing input costs. The RX platform revolutionized how farmers approached large-scale operations, proving that innovation could come from rethinking fundamentals rather than simply adding more power. Number 9. The versatile DeltaTrack DT570. Canadian engineering brought something special to the tractor world with the versatile DeltaTrack. The DT570 puts down 570 horsepower through 4 independent tracks arranged in a triangular configuration under each corner. This design creates ground contact that's nearly impossible to replicate with conventional systems. The Cummins X15 engine produces 1,850 pound-feet of torque at just 1,200 RPM, or revolutions per minute, delivering pulling power that feels endless. What makes this tractor borderline illegal is how it handles weight distribution. Those triangular track systems adjust independently, keeping the machine level across terrains that would twist conventional tractors into pretzels. The cab suspension isolates operators from vibrations so effectively that running across rough ground feels like floating. At full throttle, fuel consumption reaches over 25 gallons per hour, but the work it accomplishes justifies every drop. The DeltaTrack can pull 60-foot implements at speeds approaching 10 miles per hour, covering acres with frightening efficiency. Its turning radius defies logic for a machine this large. The triangular track configuration allows each corner to pivot independently, creating turning capability that makes this tractor feel half its actual size. Farmers describe driving it as addictive. That combination of power, stability, and precision creates an experience that makes every other tractor feel inadequate. The DeltaTrack system represents years of engineering focused on one goal: maximizing traction while minimizing soil compaction. The triangular shape distributes weight across a larger surface area than conventional tracks, spreading pressure so evenly that ground compaction drops to levels comparable to much lighter equipment. This matters enormously for soil health and long-term productivity. The Smart Ride suspension system reads terrain constantly, adjusting each track assembly in real time to maintain optimal contact and ride quality. Inside the cab, operators enjoy visibility that's nearly unmatched. The sloped hood design and high seating position provide sightlines to all four corners, making implement monitoring effortless. The controls blend old-school simplicity with modern capability. Physical switches and levers for critical functions, touchscreens for data, and settings. Number 8. The New Holland T9.675. New Holland's T9.675 represents American muscle in its purest agricultural form. 675 horsepower flows from a Cursor 16 engine, a massive power plant that dominates the engine bay like a caged beast. This articulated four-wheel drive monster weighs over 65,000 pounds and rides on tires that cost more than small cars. The Ultra Command cab features air suspension that virtually eliminates vibration, turning brutal fieldwork into a surprisingly refined experience. But refinement ends when you press the throttle. The engine's torque curve feels like getting hit by a wave, smooth at first, then overwhelmingly powerful. Electronic management systems control every aspect of operation, from transmission shifts to hydraulic pressure, making this tractor smarter than many vehicles on the highway. The three-point hitch configuration can handle implements weighing over 20,000 pounds. Hydraulic remotes pump fluid at rates that power equipment other tractors can only dream about operating. The Cursor 16 engine represents cutting-edge diesel technology, featuring common rail fuel injection that operates at pressures exceeding 30,000 psi, or pounds per square inch. This extreme pressure atomizes fuel into microscopic droplets, creating combustion so efficient that despite massive power output, the engine meets stringent emission standards without sacrificing performance. Variable geometry turbocharging provides boost pressure across the entire RPM range, eliminating lag and delivering instant throttle response. What makes this machine dangerous is how it normalizes excess. After running a T9.675 for a season, farmers find themselves spoiled by power they never knew they needed but now can't live without. It's the automotive equivalent of forbidden fruit. One taste, and there's no going back. The IntelliView 4 monitor displays real-time data across multiple pages, showing everything from fuel economy to field productivity measured in acres per hour. GPS guidance integrates seamlessly, providing accuracy that allows operators to work in complete darkness with confidence. Automatic steering maintains line precision that human operators simply cannot match over long days. The blue paint scheme has become iconic, representing not just a brand, but a philosophy that power and elegance can coexist in farming equipment. Number 7. The Massey Ferguson 8740. Massey Ferguson engineers approach tractor design with a simple philosophy. If you're going to build big, build beautiful. The 8740 delivers 415 horsepower through a 6-cylinder AGCO power engine, while somehow maintaining lines that make it look fast standing still. The Dyna VT transmission provides infinitely variable speeds with the smoothness of flowing water. But this tractor's illegal status comes from its dual-mode capabilities. In field mode, it's a gentleman farmer's dream. In boost mode, it transforms into something else entirely, a machine that can sprint to transport speeds while maintaining pulling power that embarrasses competitors. The boost mode increases horsepower output by over 50 horses, pushing the engine into performance territory that seems excessive for agricultural equipment. That extra power comes on demand with a button press, transforming the tractor's personality from workhouse to warhorse instantly. The DeltaTrack 5 control system displays real-time performance data across multiple screens, giving operators more information than cockpit pilots. The cab suspension is legendary among operators, absorbing punishment that would shake teeth loose in lesser machines. Front fenders curve like a sports car's bodywork. The exhaust note at full throttle carries a European sophistication that American tractors rarely match. What pushes this tractor into controversial territory is how it makes farming feel like sport. It's too enjoyable, too responsive, too eager to please. Farmers find excuses to use it when smaller tractors would suffice, just to experience that surge of power and precision one more time. The Vario grip system adjusts tire pressure on the go, optimizing traction for field work, then firming up for road transport. This capability extends tire life while improving performance across different applications. The three-point linkage features dynamic suspension that allows implements to float over ground contours, maintaining consistent depth even across uneven terrain. Hydraulic flow reaches 48 gallons per minute, providing sufficient power to run multiple implements simultaneously. The red and silver color scheme turns heads at farm shows and field demonstrations, proving that agricultural equipment doesn't have to sacrifice aesthetics for capability. Number 6. The Challenger MT895E. When AGCO brought the Challenger brand into the 21st century, they created something that belongs more in science fiction than in fields. The MT895E delivers 543 horsepower through rubber tracks that stretch over 12 feet long. The Cat C18 engine produces torque figures that sound fictional, 2,162 pound-feet at 1,400 RPM. This tractor doesn't pull implements. It drags entire landscapes into submission. The field cruise system maintains ground speed automatically regardless of load, using engine and transmission coordination that feels almost sentient. Track tensioning adjusts on the fly, optimizing contact pressure for conditions. The cab sits on hydraulic mounts that pivot and float, creating an isolation bubble that makes 10-hour days feel like 4. What makes this Challenger truly dangerous is its efficiency. Despite astronomical power output, fuel consumption remains reasonable through obsessive engine management. GPS guidance is standard, as is yield mapping and prescription application capability. The engine control module monitors hundreds of parameters per second, adjusting fuel delivery, turbo boost, and timing to extract maximum work from every drop of diesel. Selective catalytic reduction systems clean exhaust to levels cleaner than many passenger cars, proving that power and environmental responsibility can coexist. This isn't just a tractor, it's a mobile agricultural computer that happens to have tracks and an engine. Farmers who transition to this machine describe a learning curve more complex than their first car. By the time they master it, they're operating at productivity levels that seem impossible, questioning how they ever farmed without such capability. The track system itself represents engineering mastery. Rubber belts reinforced with steel cables flex over rollers and idlers, while maintaining tension across their entire length. The contact patch distributes weight so evenly that ground pressure drops below 10 psi, allowing operation in conditions where conventional equipment would sink hopelessly. The yellow paint scheme pays homage to Caterpillar heritage, while the Challenger name represents AGCO's commitment to innovation in tracked agricultural equipment. Number 5. The Kirovets K7. From the Soviet Union came agricultural equipment that valued brute strength over elegance, and the Kirovets K7 represents that philosophy at its most extreme. This articulated four-wheel drive beast packs a turbocharged V12 diesel engine, producing over 700 horsepower. Built like military hardware because Soviet factories often made both, the K7 weighs nearly 70,000 pounds and features armor-thick steel panels that could probably stop small arms fire. The transmission offers just 6 forward gears, but with an engine producing this much torque, finesse becomes unnecessary. This tractor was designed for the endless grain fields of Ukraine and Kazakhstan, where gentleness means nothing and only raw pulling power matters. The cab is Spartan by Western standards, but functional, offering visibility and protection without pretense. What makes the K7 controversial is its complete disregard for operator comfort in favor of pure mechanical capability. It's loud, rough, and drinks fuel like a tank, but it can pull implements that would break lesser tractors in half. The V12 engine rumbles with a sound that's part diesel, part armored vehicle, all intimidation. Each cylinder displaces massive volume, creating power strokes that shake the entire machine. Cooling systems work overtime to manage heat generated by combustion that borders on controlled explosions. Russian farmers treated these machines like beloved but difficult relatives, demanding, unrefined, but utterly reliable when conditions turned brutal. Western farmers who've operated imported K7s describe them with fascination and horror, unstoppable, uncomfortable, and utterly unique. This tractor doesn't care about emissions regulations, noise ordinances, or operator preferences. It exists to work, and it does so with Soviet certainty. The hydraulic systems operate at lower pressures than modern tractors, but with components so overbuilt that failure seems impossible. The articulation joint connecting front and rear frames uses bearings the size of dinner plates, creating pivot points that can handle stresses that would tear lesser machines apart. Despite its brutish reputation, the K7 possesses surprising reliability. Maintenance is straightforward because everything is accessible and built to be repaired rather than replaced. Parts interchange with military vehicles, ensuring availability even decades after production ended. Number 4. The Fendt 1050. Vario. German precision engineering created something dangerously perfect in the Fendt 1050 Vario. This tractor delivers 517 horsepower through a continuously variable transmission so smooth that operators often forget they're driving farm equipment. The Mann's 6-cylinder engine produces over 2,000 pound-feet of torque while meeting emission standards that would make lesser manufacturers weep. But the Vario's true illegality lies in its intelligence. The Fendt One operating system controls everything through a central touchscreen that rivals luxury automobiles. GPS guidance achieves accuracy measured in fractions of inches. Automatic section control on implements happens in real time. The suspension system adjusts in milliseconds, reading terrain faster than human reflexes. Hydraulic response is instantaneous, delivering pressure that feels telepathic. The cab could be transplanted into a Mercedes without shame. Climate control, sound insulation, ergonomic perfection. What makes this tractor controversial is how it eliminates excuses. When equipment this capable exists, farming becomes a test of operator skill and knowledge rather than equipment limitations. The Vario reveals whether you're truly expert or just getting by with lesser machines. German efficiency removes all variables except human competence. Farmers either love it for that honesty or resent it for the same reason. There's no hiding behind equipment limitations when your tractor thinks faster than you do. The Vario transmission represents decades of development, using hydraulic motors and pumps to provide infinite speed variability without gear changes. Power flows through the system continuously, eliminating the jerks and surges associated with conventional power shift transmissions. Acceleration feels linear and smooth, like a high-end sports car. The Vario drive system allows operators to shift power distribution between front and rear axles on the fly, optimizing traction for changing conditions. Front axle suspension uses nitrogen-charged accumulators to maintain contact over rough terrain while isolating the cab from punishment. Maximum travel exceeds 4 inches, allowing the tractor to float over obstacles that would jar operators in suspended cabs. The green paint carries tradition forward, while the technology underneath pushes boundaries that seemed impossible just years ago. Number 3. The John Deere 9.675. John Deere took everything they learned building massive tractors and compressed it into the 9.675, creating perhaps the most complete agricultural machine ever conceived. 640 horsepower flows from a 9-liter diesel engine that somehow produces massive power while sipping fuel with miserly efficiency. The E23 transmission offers infinite variability with the response time of a sports car. 4 massive tires provide traction through sheer contact area, while maintaining surprisingly low ground pressure. The Command View 4 cab represents the pinnacle of operator environment design. Every control falls naturally to hand, every display provides critical information without clutter, every surface feels quality. What pushes this tractor into illegal territory is its integration. DeltaTrack guidance connects with implement controls, section management, prescription applications, yield monitoring, and fleet management through a single interface. This tractor doesn't just work fields, it optimizes them with computational power that overwhelms. Farmers find themselves managing data as much as land. The learning curve is steep, the investment astronomical, and the capabilities borderline addictive. Once you've experienced farming at this level, returning to conventional equipment feels like stepping backward in time. The 9640R represents the dangerous intersection of power, precision, and intelligence that makes all previous tractors seem primitive. The PowerTech engine features high-pressure common rail fuel injection, working in concert with variable geometry turbocharging to deliver optimal combustion across all operating conditions. Selective catalytic reduction handles emissions, while diesel exhaust fluid consumption remains remarkably low. The intelligent power management system coordinates engine, transmission, and hydraulics to extract maximum productivity from available fuel. On long days covering hundreds of acres, fuel economy figures that seem impossible become routine reality. The green and yellow color scheme represents over a century of agricultural heritage, while the technology underneath points toward farming's future. Number 2. The Case. IH Steiger 620. Case IH built the Steiger 620 to prove that articulated four-wheel drive tractors could still dominate in an era of tracks and technology. 620 horsepower comes from a FPT Cursor 13 engine that produces over 2,100 pound-feet of torque. This beast weighs over 63,000 pounds and rides on tires so massive they require special equipment just to mount. The AccuDrive transmission offers 16 forward and 2 reverse gears, with power shift capability that makes shifting feel instantaneous. What makes this Steiger dangerous is its old-school approach wrapped in modern technology. While competitors chase tracks and continuously variable transmissions, Case IH perfected the articulated wheel design to near perfection. The hydraulic steering is so responsive that despite its size, the tractor pivots with sports car agility. The cab suspension float isolates operators from everything except the satisfaction of pulling massive implements with effortless power. AFS Pro 700 display provides full precision farming capability while maintaining intuitive operation. This tractor appeals to farmers who believe that fundamentals executed flawlessly beat trendy technology every time. It's controversial because it questions whether newer always means better. The Steiger 620 can match or exceed track tractors in most conditions, while costing less and requiring simpler maintenance. That practicality combined with phenomenal power makes it dangerous to profit margins of competitors and budgets of farmers who suddenly realize what they've been missing. The tire options available for the Steiger border unexcessive. Operators can specify rubber ranging from standard radials to IF, or increased flexion tires, to VF, or very high flexion tires that reduce soil compaction while increasing traction. Proper tire selection and inflation pressure management allows this wheeled giant to perform remarkably close to tracked machines in most field conditions. The frame construction uses steel formed and welded into structures that could support buildings. Every component is designed for a service life measured in decades rather than years. The red paint scheme carries international harvester heritage forward, reminding everyone that some traditions deserve preservation even as technology advances. Number 1. The Big Brute 400. At the top of our list sits a tractor so extreme, so over-engineered, and so gloriously excessive that it exists more as agricultural folklore than production equipment. The Big Brute 400 was a custom-built monster from the early 1980s, commissioned by a wheat farmer in Montana who decided that if he was going to farm tens of thousands of acres, he needed something beyond anything commercially available. The result packed a Cummins KTA-19 engine, tuned to produce over 1,000 horsepower. Yes, 1,000. The articulated frame stretched nearly 35 feet long and required 8 massive tires to distribute its 90,000-pound weight. The transmission came from a mining dump truck, modified to handle power outputs that would destroy agricultural gearboxes. Hydraulic systems operated at pressures that required aerospace-grade components. The cab was custom fabricated from steel tubing and looked more like a roll cage than operator station. This tractor could pull a 100-foot implement across tough prairie soil at speeds approaching 8 miles per hour, covering acreage at rates that seemed impossible. Fuel consumption exceeded 30 gallons per hour at full load, but when you're working sections this large, efficiency becomes relative. The builder, a talented fabricator with more ambition than caution, sourced parts from industries never intended to support agriculture. Axles came from off-highway mining trucks. Differentials were borrowed from earth-moving equipment. The hydraulic pump could have pressurized systems on construction equipment 3 times the size. Every component was selected for one criterion: could it survive power levels that would be considered insane in farming applications? The answer, remarkably, was yes. Only one was ever built, and it operated for nearly 3 decades before finally being retired. During those years, it became legendary across the northern plains. Farmers would drive hours just to see it work, watching in amazement as it pulled implements that required teams of conventional tractors. The noise at full throttle was biblical, a roar that carried for miles across flat prairie, announcing its presence long before it became visible. Inside that Spartan cab, the experience was raw and overwhelming. Visibility was excellent, but comfort was non-existent. The controls required physical strength to operate. The ride quality made modern suspension systems seem like magic, but the power, the unstoppable, relentless, earth-moving power, made every hardship worthwhile. The Big Brute 400 represents the ultimate expression of American agricultural excess. The belief that any problem can be solved by adding more horsepower, more weight, and more raw mechanical aggression. It's illegal not because of regulations, but because it set a standard so extreme that even modern engineering struggles to match its audacious brutality. Stories about the Big Brute circulate among farmers like campfire legends, tales of it working through blizzards that shut down entire counties, accounts of pulling stuck combines from mud that swallowed conventional rescue equipment, reports of its owner running it 24 hours straight during critical harvest windows, headlights blazing across the night prairie like a mechanical god. The tractor became more than equipment. It became proof that human determination and engineering skill could conquer any challenge agriculture presented. These machines weren't just tools for working the soil. They were expressions of power, ambition, and the relentless human drive to push beyond reasonable limits. From Soviet tanks disguised as tractors to American monsters born from excess and necessity, each one challenged what farm equipment could be. They broke ground, broke records, and sometimes broke the farmers who tried to afford them. Some cost more than houses. Others consumed fuel at rates that made accountants weep. But every single one represented a moment when someone decided that good enough wasn't good enough, that limits existed only to be shattered, and that farming could be as much about conquering the land as working with it. These tractors turned agriculture into adventure, transforming quiet fields into arenas where mechanical beasts battled soil, weather, and the fundamental forces of physics. They prove that innovation doesn't always come from laboratories and corporate research departments. Sometimes it emerges from necessity, desperation, and the refusal to accept that something can't be done. The farmers who operated these machines understood something fundamental about American agriculture. Progress requires risk, excellence demands excess, and greatness lives in the space where rational planning ends and pure audacity begins. These weren't just machines that worked the land. They were monuments to ambition, testaments to engineering courage, and reminders that the human spirit refuses to accept limitations. Every diesel roar, every cloud of exhaust, every acre conquered represented farmers who looked at impossible tasks and simply refused to quit. They invested fortunes, risked bankruptcy, and pushed equipment past every reasonable limit because the land demanded it, and their pride wouldn't allow failure. These tractors didn't just change farming, they changed what farmers believed was possible. Which of these mechanical beasts would you unleash on your fields? If money and common sense didn't matter, would you choose German precision, Soviet brutality, or American muscle? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you love stories about the most extreme machines agriculture ever produced, hit that subscribe button for more tales from the edge of farming sanity.